Here it is, Saturday, September 14th. It's about 10 in the morning here, and I'm headed over to my lease to get a stand-up. 2 weeks from today is the opening day of archery season here in Ohio, and I've been holding out to get this stand hung, trying to gain as much information as I can on a buck I'm hunting over there at my new lease that I nicknamed Texas Tornado. But it's getting down to crunch time. I leave tomorrow morning super early to go chase bears in Manitoba for a week with my bow, and I won't return till next Sunday, then the following weekend's deer season. So it's that time of year I got to get a stand in the air. I feel like I have a pretty good bead on what this buck's doing. I believe he's bedding on the ridge adjacent to where I'm hanging this stand. But I planted an acre of turnips on the top of this ridge where basically the scenario, it's a big ridge, a big pipeline that runs along a ridge. Then there's two secondary ridges that bridge into this main ridge. And what I believe he's doing is bedding on the ridge directly to the the east of me. And he's using these secondary ridges to come up and feed at night up on my place. So what I'm going to do, right where this secondary meets the main ridge, I'm going to hang a stand. Now I only get this buck in daylight on northwest winds, maybe 1 or 2 times on a dead north and a dead west. So what I did is I found a tree that I should be able to get away with hunting a northwest wind and hunt the wind that he likes. So we're going to get a stand up. As the season progresses, I might start to get a little more aggressive and move in a little closer to his bedroom. I got a Lone Wolf custom gear stand that should be here by opening day that I'll use as my little run and gun setup, but I wanted to get a stand hung as a starting point, and I don't know, I really like the setup. Hopefully this goes well, and stay tuned. Alright, finally got this set hung. Didn't get to go as high as I thought I was going to be able to. So I brushed it in with some beech tree leaves and some pine leaves. Whew, nice cover. It's awful open right here in this shooting lane, but that's why I put some cover on. What I'm anticipating is catching bucks. Specifically my buck Texas Tornado coming up this secondary ridge, down some of these trails, because this ridge dumps down into that big bottom, and there's another secondary that goes up to the big ridge that I believe he's bedding on. So I expect him to come up this trail and on in to my brassica food plot that snakes on down through that pipeline. A lot of hard work. It's like 90 degrees, I'm sweating, hanging this stand by myself, but hopefully the effort's worth it. 2 weeks from today, it's go time, baby. September 29th, 2019. Back over at my lease. Back in after big 10-point I nicknamed Texas Tornado. Got a little bit of a wind switch tonight, so I busted out the climber. I'm over here on the west side of the food plot now, roughly 8,500 yards from where I sat last night, headed I should have a shot as he crosses down this pipeline to go to the food plot. At least that's how I'm thinking in theory. So I'm gonna get finished settled in here, and fingers crossed, hopefully he moves. The weather's cooled down a little bit from yesterday. It's still hot, but not quite as hot, so who knows? Give her a shot tonight. Stay tuned. September 29th, the second day of season. I make my first mistake of the season, chasing this buck. All the most recent information was all indicating that that buck was going to show himself that evening. But rather than trusting my gut and getting in the tree I needed to be, I sat back 80 yards and observed. Sure enough, Texas tornado come right up that secondary and began to feed in the food plot. He eventually worked his way down to me, but by that time it was just too dark to get a shot. From that moment on, having an encounter and not being able to get the job done, my motivation reached a level that it's never reached before. And I wasn't going to stop until I had my hands on this buck.
rain should wash any sun away that I leave. So we'll see what happens tonight, but that's kind of my tentative game plan. I really think Sunday's going to be good. With that weather front coming in, I think those deer are going to be laid up. Probably not going to be super active for tomorrow night and Sunday morning. So they should be active Sunday night. And who knows, they could be active tonight before the front moves in, but I got a good wind tonight, so I figured I'd try it. Like I said, it's definitely cooler than it was yesterday, so maybe the deer will be on their feet tonight. I didn't see any deer walking in, I didn't bump any deer walking in, which is always a good sign, so I'm going to finish getting settled, and fingers crossed, hopefully he moves tonight. Stay tuned, guys.
Quack, quack.
I shot so hard and so long all summer and practiced my ass off for that opportunity. Oh. I felt so good about it. I was steady. I felt like I could follow through good. I liked his reaction. He took off running like crazy. I hope that was where I think it is. Oh man, I'm shaking so bad. Oh, I hope I hit him good, man. Oh yes. It felt good. I'm gonna sit here for a minute, let things cool down and go down and look for my arrow. But I can't even see.
Finally, on the 17th sit of the season for Texas Tornado, I'm able to let an arrow fly at him. Because it was getting to the end of legal shooting time, it was hard to tell where I hit him in the video. But I gave him a few hours and went back in, and as soon as I got into the timber, man, he opened up and he went about 100 yards and there he was. Here it is, October 25th, 2019, and finally got my hands on the buck I've been chasing all season. Picked up this new lease last year, and I honestly didn't hunt it. I had already filled my buck tag, but we threw some cameras up, and my cousin Bo ended up shooting a buck over here. But I got pictures of this buck last year towards the end of the year, and I mean, he really wasn't all that impressive. I figured him to be a 3 or 4 year old buck. He was a 9-point last year, probably 125 inches maybe, and honestly, he wasn't really on my radar for this year. But when I threw cameras out over here on some minerals back in June, I fell in love with him. I mean, he's got a good frame, super tall, nice beams. I love this little kicker, and I nicknamed him Texas Tornado off a country song, and the chase was on. I began to start a pattern on him, and I actually had an encounter with this buck on the second day of season, but it got a little bit too dark once he got into range, and I've just been fighting him ever since. I've been hunting 4 to 5 days a week, bouncing around between full-time work, school, and trying to hunt 4 or 5 days a week, and man, oh man, was it worth it. I slipped down the night after work. I was very close to killing him Tuesday night. I was within 150 yards. And I made a move back to where I had pictures of him, and sure enough, he came out, and he sat there for a long time, and he was 1/4-2, and I couldn't get a shot. And he turned to walk away, and I had pre-ranged that area at around 40 yards, and I put a little low just in case he ducked, and I couldn't see in the video where I hit him, and it made me nervous. I didn't know what was going on, but me and Johnny came back in here and started tracking him, and sure enough, I'd smoked him. He only ran 100 yards straight downhill, and I can't even believe it. It's so awesome when you get a buck like this, and so much time and effort and money and stress goes into killing these deer, and I can't believe it. What a buck. He's gonna be really close to my biggest buck. I figure him to probably be in the low to mid 150s would be my guess. Probably a 5-year-old buck. He might only be 4.5, but a great deer to hunt, a great deer to kill, and I'm tickled to death with him. Thank you, Johnny, for helping me track him and helping me get him out of here. He's going to be a tough one to get out. He's got a big body, but we're going to do it. So, closes the chapter on Texas Tornado. What a 2019 season. So, got him back to camp here. Just wanted to do another quick little interview. This is the shed I picked up off of him last year. I mean, you can see how much he grew. It just goes to show why you let these bucks get to be mature and, you know, beat a 4 or 5 year old range. It's crazy what a deer can do in a year. I mean, he grew well over 25-30 inches. Pretty crazy. I mean, he was a nice buck last year, but look what he can turn into if you just give him age. Awesome buck.